In the last video, we walked around the Antha workflow directories and got some practice using terminal commands. You may recall that some of those directories contained more than one parameters and workflow file. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to change the parameters and workflow files which go into an experiment when using the Antha run command. Like before, we'll begin by opening the terminal and navigating to our workflows folder using the workflows alias. Then we'll use ls to remind ourselves of the contents of this directory, and finally, we are going to explore the BioBrick assembly experiment. Inside this element, we can see our trusty parameters and workflow files, as well as some supplementary CSVs. We also have another directory called digestion. If we change to that directory and list its contents, we see two additional files that kind of look like a normal parameters and workflow file, but they use a different name. Indeed, these two files are valid parameters and workflow files, but if we try the Antha run command here, we run into an error. Why is that? That's because Antha run on its own will only execute properly if it can find two files called workflow.json and parameters.yaml. Otherwise, you must specify explicitly the file name and whether it's a workflow or parameters file. To do this, you use two dashes and a special keyword. In this case, we'll type Antha run space, then dash dash workflow, then another space and the name of the workflow file. In this case, it is digestionworkflow.json. In the terminal, as in life, spelling and capitalization are important, so to help you out, don't forget the tab trick to help you autocomplete the file names. Then type another space, dash dash parameters, a final space, and then the name of the parameters file. Hit enter, and let's see what happens. As expected, we get some text instructions on how to perform a BioBrick assembly. Next, we'll check out the construct assembly experiment, and to do that, we'll need to climb two directories to get back to our workflows folder. Now, to do this, we could just type our cd space ... command twice, but that takes precious seconds, so instead I'm going to climb two directories at once by typing cd space ... /.. By the way, this pattern holds for any number of directories, so if you wanted to climb up three directories, you could, for example, type cd ... /.. etc. Navigate to the construct assembly directory and press ls. In this folder, we've got 6 different files, and it kind of looks like 3 are parameters files and 3 are workflow files. If we use Antha run, we can expect it to work with workflow.json and parameters.yaml. But as we learned a moment ago, if we want to run Antha with other files, you have to call them with the appropriate flags. Type Antha run space dash dash workflow space 24 workflow.json space dash dash parameters space 24 parameters.json, and the experiment works as expected. It's handy to note that flags don't necessarily need to go in a particular order to work. However, the file which the flag specified must always come after the flag itself. For example, if we tried to run Antha run dash dash parameters 24 parameters.json dash dash workflow 24 workflow.json, it will work. But if we try to run Antha run dash dash parameters dash dash workflow 24 parameters.json 24 workflow.json, it will not work. Similarly, the parameters and workflow file, which are used in the experiment, must be compatible with each other. For example, if we tried to run Antha run workflow 24 workflow.json parameters.yaml, it won't work because parameters.yaml and 24 workflow.json were not authored to work together. You may have noticed in this example that we are using a file called 24 parameters.json, even though every other example we've used so far has a parameters file with a .yaml extension. It turns out that as long as the file contents are valid, the actual name and extension of the file itself does not matter. However, it tends to be easier to use files in Antha when they are named in conventional ways.